Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of our online Scratch series. I did get some emails after the one that I did the other day from a few people saying they were having trouble with saving the program on devices like Chromebooks and tablets. So I would say before you start on today's, make certain that you've signed up for an account on the Scratch website. It's very easy to do, very straightforward, but it does allow you then to save your work online. So what we're going to do today, we're going to create a program like this one. Okay, so on this you've got to try and click the circles. Every time you click one of them, then you do get a point. Every time you miss, it takes points off you, and you've only got a certain amount of time to do that. We're not going to do this exact game. We're going to make a few differences, but the general idea should be the same. So first of all, you need to go online and go to Scratch. Again, a few people emailed me about the fact they don't have Google Chrome. It doesn't matter, any web browser will do. Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Safari, and any of these should get you on. So let's get to the Scratch website. And once we're in there, we want to go to Create, make certain you are logged in, and then we're ready to go from here. So first thing we're going to do today is we're going to make our own sprite, so we can get rid of the cat there, and then down here we're going to go to the paint tool, and we want circle tool, and we need a very bright color. I'm going to use a bright red, so we pick our color from there, and then we want to put the color saturation up as high as it'll go. I don't want an outline border on my shape, so I'm going to turn that down until that disappears. So what we want to do now is draw our circle, and as you start drawing it, hold down your shift key so that we get a perfect circle there. Let go of the mouse first, then let go of the shift key. Move over onto the pointer. So as we move this around, you can see where the center of the drawing area is here, so I'm just going to drop that in there. We can also see how big it is on the stage as well. Maybe a little bigger than I wanted, but that's fine, we can fix that. Once we've got that one drawn, we're going to go then to paintbrush, and we need this fairly big, so I'm going to go for a size 100, and I'm going to turn the saturation down so that we end up with white. So what we want is two sort of eyes drawn on this. Don't worry about lining everything up, it doesn't matter at all. Still with the paintbrush then, I'm then going to drop that size down quite a bit. I was doing 30. I'm going to turn the brightness down this time here, just so that we can put some eyes inside there. Last thing, let's get the line tool, and we're just going to drag with these just to put the mouth on our character. Once you've done that, then let's go to our bucket fill tool. So we're going to turn the brightness up there, drop the saturation down so we've got white again, and then click on there. So that's our character finished at this point. Go back to code up there. Good idea at this point just to give our project a name. So we'll call this one Click It. Then as it starts saving, or we can click save now, we know that we're not going to lose anything if something goes wrong. So a little bit big to be moving around the stage, so the first thing that we're going to do then is have like a setup program. So I'm going to go to events. We're going to say when the green flag is clicked, then we're going to go to looks, and we're going to set the size. Now when we looked at this in our last lesson, we did change the size from there. I'm going to do it on the program today because we're going to do this with different sprites in different sizes, and it's a case of guessing really. Let's take 50%, and you can double click on this one and that'll take it to 50%. So if you want it a little bit bigger, try that. I think we'll go with that size. So we're just going to drop that one down onto there. Next thing that we want is we would like this then to be able to change colour for when we put it onto different sprites. It'll save us some work later. So over here then we're going to put change colour effect by, but for this first sprite we're just going to set that as 0. We don't really need it now, but we will use it a little bit later. And then we don't want it always to start off in exactly the same place, so we are going to go to motion and this block here that says go to random position. So let's just try it. If we run the program, it should appear in different places around the screen. Now one thing that isn't changing is the direction that it's pointing in. So if we click on that, moment it's at 90 degrees, which is right. If we go downwards, look, 0 would be that way, and then we're going up to 180 here, and then we're on the minuses on this side. So I'll just put that back for now, because that's what we're going to do then with its position. So we're going to put pointing direction, but we don't always want it to point right. We'd like it to be a bit more random for the game. So we're going to go then into the operators, where the maths bits are. And we're going to get this one, pick a random number from 1 to 110. Now when I just looked on the directions there, the directions go from minus 180 up to 180, and then we get hold of that and we drop it into the end of that program there. So now we should have it bouncing around and it's pointing in different directions as it does it. So the last thing I just want to do with that is I'm going to click this direction one and we're going to go for this middle here, which stops it from rotating. So as we test that, it should stay upright. So now we want to actually get the sprite moving. So back on events and over to here. Okay, and motion, move 10 steps. I'm going to slow that down a little bit for this first one, so we're going to just say move 5 steps. If it gets to an edge, bounce, and we would like it to do that motion forever. So put a forever loop there and put this one on, and then we can test the first part of the program. And you can see the way it's kind of bouncing in these directions. If we start it again, it should go in a different direction and start somewhere else, which puts a little bit more randomness on the game for us. At the beginning of the game, we're going to hide the sprites. So I'm going to go back to this first one. I'm going to take that off. We're going to go into looks and we're going to put hide on that one and then put that one together. So because we've hidden that, we also need a way of getting it back again. We need a little bit of time for the setup of the program to run through. So before we start this moving in control, we're going to wait 1 second before the game does anything, and then back on looks, and we're going to go to show, so it shows the sprite. So each time we run this, we should get 1 second where there's nothing on there, and our sprite appears. If we run it again, nothing on there, sprite appears, and so on. Yeah. If it hasn't done it already, good idea just to save now. So the next thing that we need to do is we need a program to detect when someone's actually clicked on our sprite. So we're going to start with events. This time we're not going to say when the green flag is clicked, we're going to have when this sprite clicked. So I'm going to put that there. Now in the game, people get a point every time they click one of these. So what we don't really want is someone clicking it very quickly a couple of times to get extra points. So as soon as that one's been clicked, we're going to hide that sprite. We need it to stay hidden for a certain amount of time, then we need it to come back again. So we're going to go into control, we're going to tell it to, for the time being, wait 1 second, back to looks again, and then we're going to show the sprite. So if we run that now, every time we click that, it should then just be going away and coming back later on. Problem though is that it's a little bit predictable where it's going to be when it does come back. So what we're going to do is take the show off there. I'm going to right click on this one, the go to random position, and duplicate it. And then don't click again until you're out of the way. And we're going to put that block onto these. So now we're saying we're going to hide it. We're going to wait. It's going to now move somewhere randomly on the screen. It's going to point in a different direction. And then we'll show it again. So if we just test what that one's doing. So when I click it, it was bouncing up and down here. Now it's going in a slightly different direction. And it just makes it a little less predictable and more random. So that we can make the game maybe just a little bit more difficult, what we're going to do with this one then is every time someone clicks it, it gets very slightly smaller. So over here we're looking not for set size, which we used up here. We want to change the size. So again, I'm going to take that show off, put that one on there, and let's change it by -5% and run it on there. So again, let's run that. Now when it comes back, we should find it is getting smaller. And at that point, we can get rid of the 1 second wait and make it a little bit more useful for the game. So we're going to go into operators again. We're going to pick a random, and this is number of seconds it stays hidden. So I'm going to say between 2 and 5 seconds, and then we drop that onto our wait command. So let's just test that one. So when we click it, it should stay away now for longer than 1 second. When it comes back, it's just a little bit smaller. And that just adds a little bit of difficulty to the game. So I'll stop that and just bring our sprite back again then. This point, it's probably worth us doing something about our stage. So on the backdrops here, okay, we can click on the stage and we can go up there to backdrops, so we can see these. I'm going to go down here and click choose a backdrop. You can pick pretty much anything that you want on these. Just make sure that it's something that your colours are going to show up on. So I'm going to go for this one. Don't need the other backdrop now, so I'm going to click on that and delete it. And then we go back to the code. So I'm going to stop at this stage and make sure that that is saved, which are our programs are there, and then I'll continue this in another section so that these are not too long when you're working on them. So see you next time.